Yeah, you touched on something there that is a discussion that I've had a bunch with either editors or other journalists or even PR reps, which is this whole debate of like timely versus timeless, and sort of the idea of like, do we want to be first or striving to be first? How important it is to be first. And I think that obviously flies a little bit in the face of sometimes when you're chatting to sort of, and this is a discussion that we've had a lot in the ACJR, which is this idea of like embargoes and sort of, yeah, who goes to publish first? How does that happen? Where do you stand on that debate? How important is being first for when you were editor?
Yeah, dude, there's so much there. I also feel like I'm like giving you very long answers just because I love geeking out about this stuff.
Nah, man, go for gold.
I'll try and be brief. Like, it's definitely the case that, well, it's definitely the case that a reporter's nightmare is being told, like, get more scoops and break more news. I mean, yeah, ideally everyone wants to break more news and everyone wants to be first. You know, no one doesn't want to be first, but it's really hard. And it's almost easier to give an example from the non-crypto world, like in the NBA reporting world, because my other big, beat and experiences in sports business, the money of sports. In the NBA world, two guys get every scoop. And it's even been written about. There's a fun, rivalry, and it's either Shams Charania or Adrian Wojnarowski. And every single trade announcement, deal, team sale, everything, one of those two guys breaks first. And I always think, man, it's brutal because there are tons of other reporters who cover the NBA, but the people who have news to share, agents, owners, athletes, they just always go to one of those two guys. And you always kind of think, well, wouldn't they want to share the love so that there's a little bit of variety? And the answer is like, nope. They've got Woj in their phone and they text Woj. And I think they also get a kick out of seeing the Woj bomb when Woj says, breaking, the Clippers are trading Chris Paul, whatever it is. And so that's just an example to say that, man, it takes time. It takes years for a journalist to build up a network of sources, a group of people who, A, actually are powerful enough that they have news to share, that they have things they can leak and tell you, and B, that they trust you enough that they'll give it to you, and that you trust them. Because as we also know in crypto, it's really hard. You can't trust everyone who sends you a telegram and goes, hey man, get this. I've heard that blah, blah, blah protocol is going under. They're illiquid. Well, you can't just go and tweet that. It could be some degen who's lying. It could be a bot. I mean, it's especially hard in crypto.
I mean, you can if you're like the intern of someone. You can,
right? Oh my God, the best. I get it. I get the fevered desire to break news, because if you get a really big story, CoinDesk with the leaked balance sheet that brought down FTX. Hello, it can make careers. It can win awards. When I joined Decrypt, to answer your question directly, we certainly, certain people in power there said, well, gosh, we need to break more news. We need to be first. And I had the view at first that, and I still have this part of this opinion, I think everyone in crypto media is too obsessed with what their direct competitors are doing. In other words, at Decrypt, we were constantly looking at the block in CoinDesk. Oh man, and it would kill me when the blocker CoinDesk got a scoop first or got a story up first. And that's a good thing. I mean, if you're really hungry and you care and you're on a beat, it should kill you when your direct competitor gets a scoop. But that said, if you're so single-minded and focused on that as a leader, the editorial team, it just wears them down. It's just, it'll just make them feel like they're constantly losing. And the other side of scoops is like, well, we can do the next day story. We can analyze, explain, add value for an audience. And there's total value in that, absolutely. Although, the sort of cutthroat, God's honest truth commentary on that is like, yeah, but that's like a softer, easier approach. That's an excuse. And nowadays, honestly, I think especially as traffic to crypto sites is down, I actually think that being first is more important and necessary than ever. And it's not what young journalists want to hear. It's kind of disheartening because it just makes it so competitive and kind of intimidating. Of course, if you're not first, you can be best, i.e. you can have the best story. But of course, the ideal, the dream, is being first and best. Now, you don't want to be first and be wrong. That's the worst. A couple times, I'm pleased to say, only really two prominent times I remember, we rushed to put something up and it was wrong, and it kills you. I mean, that's the worst, right? When people in the ACJR room are sniping at you, God, that's the worst. So you want to be careful. You want to vet stuff, but I think speed matters. And I think anyone who says speed doesn't matter is kind of kidding themselves.